So I got married in 1998 to my first husband. We unfortunately got a divorce in 2006. In 2008, I met my second husband, who became my abuser. We got set up through a blind date through mutual friends. We went on quite a few vacations when we were dating. We did a lot of fundraising events, stuff out in the community. He was, for the most part, very good to me at the time. Right after we got married, the dynamic was completely different. Week after we got married, I moved in and was unpacking my things, and I had placed my family pictures on the stairwell going up the stairs. And he came home from work and he said, "Why are you putting these pictures up on these walls? These are my walls and you need to ask me permission." And he took the pictures off and threw them on the floor and said, "You're not to put anything up without my permission." And that was kind of the beginning of how it all started. He would work like a weekend out of the month. I really took my girls and tried to spend quality time with them. If he found out what we did, he would make us repeat the same thing the next night. Same movie, same place for dinner. And so we finally got to the point where we didn't tell him what we were doing or where we were going. And that's when I found out that he had a tracker on my phone. And that's another sign that led me to believe that things were gonna be crazy. He was becoming more physical. He was showing up at my classes, locking me out of the house, stealing my car to the point where I had no transportation. I was completely shocked, and a lot of times I questioned myself, am I going crazy or is this normal? And so I would discuss this with some of my friends at church, and they suggested that I leave, and it's just not that easy. You just can't just say you're gonna up and leave because it gets worse. The abuse gets worse. We had gotten into a very big disagreement, and he had hit me pretty hard to the point where I blacked out. He hit me very hard in the head. I knew that I had to leave, but I knew that I had to be very careful about how I did it. A woman from my church at the time had said to me, "Candice, I'm gonna check around about domestic violence and shelters, and maybe there's some place or somewhere that you could go." So she made some phone calls, and she wound up talking to Bridges in Williamson County. They told me they had a room for me and my children, and they said, "We need you to come Thursday." And I said, "I can't come Thursday because he's off of work. I have to wait till he's at work." And they said, "Okay, that's fine. We'll hold the room for you, but you'll have to come, Friday." So I said, "Okay." I think what was completely instrumental was them helping me create an exit plan to get all of the things, in motion or organized, because when you're dealing with this type of a situation, you don't always remember how to do it or what to do it, and you're extremely emotional because you're sad because this is your husband and this is the love of your life, and you just didn't think that this could happen to me or to anybody for that matter. Right after I left, it was very, very scary because I didn't know how I was going to make it. Did I make the right decision? What's going to happen now? Am I going to be able to survive on my own? Am I going to be able to get through this situation? Because literally, I was cut off from everything. So what I had was what I was able to take in my car, and then, the little bit of money that we could take when I left. Having to reinvent yourself all over again was very difficult. The uncertainty was very scary. But it was through Bridges that I realized the resources and the relationships that they have in the community that helped me with that outreach to be able to say, "Candice, you can do this." They also provided resources for our family for over 2 years, whether it was at Christmas or Thanksgiving, and they sponsored our families. I remember when I first left, for the first couple years, I couldn't afford to do Christmas for my children, and they did that. They supported our family. We grew our family by 3. I started fostering about 2.5 years ago and just adopted my sibling group of 3, hoping that, to be able to impress upon people that there is life after things happen, tragedies come forward, but People are going to help you overcome the tragedy that you're going through. And a lot of people, I think, have the impression that domestic violence or abuse happens in a certain income bracket. Well, my husband made six-figure income, so it can happen to anybody at anywhere at any time. I was able to gain the confidence and believe in myself that I was okay and that what I was doing by leaving was the right thing to do for myself and my family. So I really owe everything I have to Bridges, because if it weren't for them, I don't know if I would have been so strong in the end, you know, to be able to pick myself back up after having to deal with that. Thank you. Because of your support, Bridges has made an incredible impact on mine and my children's life.